You.
All right. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday, guys. So
Hello.
we are super excited to have our special guest today, Stacey Longshore with Outdoor Images Management. Landscape guru is what I'd like to call it. And I've known Stacey for a while through church, as a friend, and as a past client too. We helped you sell a house and buy a house. So we're just super excited to have you. Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, Stacey, tell us how your week's been so far.
Really busy. Good. But like everybody in this industry, now is the busy time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've probably been swamped on appointments and managing a bunch of projects.
Yes, all of the above.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I asked you, it must have been last week or the week before, about something, and you were like, we're so busy. I like taking clients right now is difficult. I'm sure you could squeeze a job in or two, right? But it's nice to be in demand.
Oh, yeah. We are. It's just I guess, a positive side effect of COVID, if there is such a thing, is that with so many people working from home and starting to understand kind of the value of their outdoor space and wanting to turn their home environment into something more pleasurable, not just four walls of the house, the phone started ringing, whatever that was, March of 2020, and it hasn't slowed down yet.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in landscape design?
So I'm a nerd. I went to architecture camp when I was in high school. And one of the professors there told me that the project that I enjoyed the most, he said, I think you should look into landscape architecture. And I said, okay, that sounds great. And I and met with the program director, learned a little bit more about it, and said, that's it. That's what I'm going to be when I grow up. And since then, so I graduated from Clemson back in '96, and I worked for a landscape architecture firm in Atlanta for 6 years, and then took a short hiatus to have my two kids, who are now 14 and 17. And I've been working with this design build firm, Outdoor Images Management, since 2002. Long time.
Oh, wow.
I have really enjoyed switching from office, industrial, commercial with the LA firm, and then with the design build, we're predominantly residential.
Wow. That's a long time to be with your company. That's great. You must really love it there.
It is. We're like a small family.
Yeah, that's cool. So Lisa's a Clemson grad too.
I know.
I had to throw that in there.
I heard that and I automatically wanted to talk about it.
I almost saw your eyes like, ooh.
Yeah. I know. I was like, let me pick Stacey's brain about how she feels about our football team. What was her favorite part?
Now we're really going off subject, right?
Well, and Jennifer, you kind of touched on it, but y'all got connected through, you said church? Is that how you first met?
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah,
isn't that right?
Yeah, long ago through some of the youth programs, and then just connected through love of reading books, and just always stayed in touch. And then when it was time for me to sell my house last year, it was a really unique situation, and I would say lots of hurdles were thrown in front of me, and Jennifer was just like, oh, never done this before, but I got it covered. And it was a long process, but yeah, Jennifer kept it fun. So I will say selling with you guys was I don't want to do it again. If I had to, it would be with you guys. And
thanks.
Love it.
Yeah, it was certainly a unique situation, but we got through it, and now you're in a great spot, and that's all that matters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so let's talk a little bit about what you do. And when someone
Mhm.
calls you and has you come, and I suppose you go to their house and meet with them for a consultation, what can they expect when meeting with you?
Yeah, so when someone calls into the office, I'll schedule an appointment and I have to go see the space. So we'll meet on the property and walk around. I usually send out what I call a brainstorming sheet with a bunch of questions because every family's space is different and every family's needs are slightly different. And um, really no design should ever be the same. So I try to ask a lot of questions, get to know the individuals in the space. And then from there, we can talk about the best way to proceed. But 90% of the time, I'll recommend a master plan. Um, that way it can be broken into bite-sized pieces. It can be done all at once. It's best for coordination. Um, and then from there, we move into, installing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Design includes for us, since my degree is in landscape architecture and me and the company, we're North Carolina licensed landscape contractors, and the company and a couple of individuals are licensed irrigation contractors. So we do not only plants, but also hardscapes like patios, driveway layouts, pergolas, fire pits. We do water features, outdoor lighting, everything to kind of create an outdoor room, because that's really what you're trying to build.
Yeah. That's so cool. Now I want to redo.
I know. You touched on the options that potential clients can use you for. Which one would you say is like the one that most people go with? What's the most common?
So most people will call and just say, hey, I need to do something with my outdoor space. Can you help me with plants? But that's only
Mm.
part of it. So creating and framing the structure, creating that space becomes important. A lot of people creating patios, work environments. So is it built-ins? Is it working with furniture? But fire pits, they're one of my favorites. And I tend to be a pragmatic designer, so I want spaces to be able to grow and change as families grow and change. You might have little kids now, one day it might be grandkids. Are you aging in place? What do we need to take into account? But fire pits and portable ones, mobile ones especially, I love because you can put them away when you don't need them and have a larger patio space, or bring them out. And squeeze as many chairs around as possible, or just put two and sit with your cup of wine and enjoy them. But great for all ages. And now that I have teens, I understand, because they want a space to hang out on the property where they don't feel I'm listening or part of their conversation. So it's a wonderful small kind of bite-sized project that families can do to create a space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's so cool to think of your outdoor living as another living area, right? It's a space that you want to be able to spend a lot of time out there.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as with fall coming and thinking about, I know this is one big question I probably get a lot, and I'm also wondering for myself, what would you say your biggest fall landscaping maintenance tip is?
Um, Aerating and overseeding. I'm sure we're all seeing that, but fescue still tends to be the most popular turf grass here in the Metro Charlotte area. And because it is a cool season grass, it does not like our heat. So even with irrigation systems, it tends to thin, it gets stressed out in the summer, and it doesn't spread or creep, which is great for maintenance. But the maintenance that goes with it is that you have to overseed it each fall in order to keep that dense, healthy stand.
Yeah.
The next most common thing I would say is, after leaf cleanup, mulch your plants. I know pine needles are really popular, but mulch, like we use a double hammered hardwood mulch, is really a much better insulator. keeping ground temperatures consistent and holding moisture in. So that's big, should be high on people's priority list.
Which people probably don't think of that in the winter or fall. They think, oh, we'll mulch in the spring, right? When we're ready to do our spring and summer plantings. But the mulch is really it's like the coat, right? A coat for the roots.
It really does help.
Yeah. It's funny you're talking about aerating and overseeding, because just driving the kids to school this morning, I saw a ton of landscapers out and a lot of aerating going on. Someone just dropped off mulch across the street. It's too early, right? But, you know, or maybe that's the layer that will be underneath the leaves when they drop.
Well, you know, it's both ways. You can go ahead and do it now and just understand you might lose a little when you're doing leaf cleanup.
Yeah.
Cautious.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Now, what is the biggest mistake that you see people make when they go to redo an outdoor space?
That kind of goes back to the reason I always suggest the master plan is kind of doing a small something without keeping in mind the whole property or the bigger picture. What's the long-term goal? And do it yourselfers. A lot of the most common mistake is forgetting that cute little plant that you're buying, you know, this little shrub that's 12 by 12, planting it, you know, 2 feet off your house without realizing that it's going to mature into a 6 foot tall by 4 foot wide shrub. And so not giving plants proper space, or choosing the wrong plant for a space, you know, choosing plants that mature to 6 to 12 feet tall and planting them right in front of their, you know, front windows creates an ongoing maintenance situation for the homeowners.
Yeah, I see that all the time. Yeah, people packing in shrubs or even like arborvitaes, big evergreens, and they're like, oh, let's pack these in and they'll grow tall, but then they grow wide and they're smothering each other, right? So,
they lost their whole backyard in these small urban lots. Really knowing, and that's part of the value of using a design service, is there are cultivars and varieties of plants that are out there that make it possible to choose appropriate plants for the space. So it's not just the color and the texture and the privacy screening, but also making sure it's the right size and shape and for the conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thinking about your job, because I'm just excited hearing about all of this advice and tips and stuff. What do you love most about it?
So I really like interacting with the people, and I think so working through the process is fun, but then at the end it's that, oh wow, this is so different, and getting the little surprise texts of, hey, look, here we are sitting, look, here's my granddaughter playing in your water feature, or here we are, you know, drinking a glass of wine by our fire pit. And it's knowing that it's spaces that people enjoy.
Yeah, that is fun. It's fun to see that they're enjoying it for years down the road. And I think that would be my favorite, is seeing the finished product and how they used it.
It is going back and visiting projects years later, as clients will say, okay, well, now, you know, these plants have done super well, and perhaps this plant hasn't done as well. What can we do? Or now our neighbors planted XYZ and yikes, we lost our sun. So kind of working spaces, because landscapes are living and changing and evolving. And so working with it as it does mature and grow. It's always fun to revisit later.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
Stacey, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
The best way is to call the office. Donna's fantastic. She's our office manager. So just call the office. You want the number?
Sure.
4-509-0710. And then if I'm in the office, we're really small, we don't have voicemail, that Donna will pass the phone to me. And if not, she'll leave a pretty little Post-it note on my computer. I love it because we are small, which means we have 2 installation crews and we move project to project. But it means I'm involved with the project from start to finish. So from meeting with the clients, doing the design, ordering the plants, going on site, laying them out, helping clients choose pavers or choose boulders, working with the construction manager to kind of say, this is what this is supposed to feel like. And then him doing his magic of turning it into reality.
Wow.
It's, I don't know, it's the whole process is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, call me at the office.
Okay.
Okay.
I will
I love a
post
small
that too.
business. Yeah, we will. I was just gonna say, I love a small business. You've got your hands in it all. I love that, rather than calling a 1-800 number.
Yeah.
No, and it's not like, you know, it's all of us the whole time.
It's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We always like to end our Facebook Lives every week with saying something we are grateful for. So Stacey, if you want to give us your grateful, start it out.
I am really grateful for my family, and then my friends, which those are, as one of my high school friends said, friends are the family that you choose. So my family and my extended chosen family.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Jennifer?
Well, mine is kind of very similar to yours, Stacey. I went on a trip last week. It was like a business women's retreat, and it was all about, you know, work-life balance, how you can have a big job and still be a good mom, good wife, all that good stuff. And we kind of formed these groups that we called tribes. And then I started to think, you know, you have multiple tribes in your life, and I'm just really grateful for those groups of friends or business women that I am, you know, always in contact with, that we can bounce ideas off of each other. So all of my tribes I'm grateful for.
That's great. Mine's not as deep as y'all's today. Mine, of course, I'm always grateful for my family, but mine, I did the weather and just being able to work from my back porch, and especially talking about creating outdoor living spaces. I feel like that's big for all my clients now too. So to be able to show houses when it's nice and cool, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing, today is National Coffee Day, so I'm very grateful for coffee.
Ooh, that makes me want to go get another cup of coffee.
I love
Well,
it.
happy National Coffee Day, y'all. And thanks again for joining us, Stacey. You guys need to give Stacey and her company Outdoor Images Management a call if you need any advice or need a good plan for your outdoor spaces.
Love to help. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a good rest
Thanks,
of the day.
guys. Bye.
Bye.